Hi, I'm Jasper. I never thought I'd be telling this story, but sometimes life hits you with a curveball so unexpected that you need to share it just to make sense of it all. Jasper, we need to talk, Eleanor said, her voice oddly formal as she placed her coffee mug on our kitchen island. The morning light caught her recently highlighted hair, a $1,000 treatment she treated herself to last week. I looked up from my laptop where I'd been working on proposals for my graphic design business. Sure, what's up, Ellie? She flinched at the nickname I'd called her for our entire 12-year relationship. I prefer Eleanor now. Since when? I laughed, but her expression remained stony. Since I've been doing some thinking about my life and where I want to be. She slid a manila envelope across the counter. These are divorce papers. I'd like you to move out by the end of the week. My coffee mug froze halfway to my lips. Is this some kind of joke? Do I look like I'm joking? Eleanor's perfectly manicured nails tapped impatiently on the granite countertop. My Aunt Judith's inheritance came through. It's significantly more than we anticipated. The inheritance? I thought we were going to use that to finally start our family, maybe buy that lake house we've been talking about for years. Eleanor's laugh was hollow. That was your plan, not mine. The inheritance is $23 million, Jasper. Do you know what that means? It means I don't have to compromise anymore. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Compromise? Is that what our marriage has been to you? A compromise? Don't be dramatic. We had some good years, but let's be honest. You've been holding me back. Your little design business barely breaks even. My little business has supported us for the past 5 years while you jump from job to job trying to find yourself, I countered, anger rising. My phone buzzed. It was Marcus, my best friend since college. Everything okay? His text read. Still on for lunch? I quickly typed back, not okay. Ellie just handed me divorce papers. The house is in my name now, Eleanor continued, oblivious to my texting. I've transferred the funds from my inheritance. My financial advisor thinks, Derek, that guy's been giving you advice? I remembered the slick-suited man who'd started appearing at our social events months ago. Eleanor's cheeks flushed. Derek understands finance, and yes, he's been helping me make some important decisions. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, I'll be there in 10. Don't sign anything. How long has this been going on? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Eleanor adjusted her designer watch, another recent acquisition. I don't know what you mean. You and Derek, the secret meetings, the financial advice, the sudden change in how you dress, talk, even your friends. You're being paranoid, she snapped, but her eyes slid away from mine. This isn't about Derek. It's about me finally having the freedom to live the life I deserve. The doorbell rang. Eleanor looked annoyed. Who's that? That would be Marcus, I said, standing up. And I think I'd like a witness for whatever else you have to say to me. Always running to Marcus, she muttered. That's part of the problem. I opened the door to find Marcus's concerned face. He took one look at me and knew. He told you, Eleanor demanded when Marcus followed me inside. He just said you handed him divorce papers, Marcus replied carefully. Mind telling me why my best friend looks like he's been hit by a truck? It's quite simple, Eleanor said with a dismissive wave. I've received my inheritance and I'm making some changes. Jasper and I have grown apart. $23 million apart, apparently, I added bitterly. Marcus's eyebrows shot up. 23 million? And suddenly you want a divorce? That's convenient timing. Eleanor glared at him. This isn't your business, Marcus. When you ambush my friend with divorce papers after coming into a fortune, you make it my business, Marcus fired back. Eleanor gathered her purse. I have a meeting with Derek. We can discuss the details later, Jasper, but I need you out by Friday. She headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and I've frozen our joint accounts for security purposes. As the door closed behind her, Marcus turned to me. Tell me everything, now. She's been different for months, I explained as Marcus and I sat in the coffee shop. New clothes, new friends, constantly checking her phone. And this Derek guy? Marcus leaned forward. Supposedly her financial advisor. Shows up everywhere in designer suits, always pulling Eleanor aside for quick discussions. My phone rang. Valerie, Eleanor's sister Jessica's friend. Jasper? Jessica told me what happened. Eleanor's been planning this for months, Valerie said, her voice low. Since she found out Aunt Judith was terminal. Planning what exactly? I asked, putting the call on speaker. The divorce. She met Derek at some charity gala. He specializes in helping wealthy clients protect assets from spouses during divorces, Marcus finished. Exactly. They've been seeing each other since January. She kept everything quiet until the inheritance cleared and she could secure the house. My stomach dropped. We were still talking about starting a family then. That was the plan, keep you in the dark. Jessica thinks it's awful, but Eleanor threatened to cut her off financially if she warned you. The cafe door opened, and Olivia, Eleanor's best friend, marched toward us. Taking sides already, Valerie, she snapped through the phone. I'm telling Jasper what he deserves to know, Valerie replied firmly. Olivia scoffed. Eleanor supported him for years while he played with his little design projects. Now she has a chance at real happiness. I stood up. I've paid every mortgage payment for 5 years while she cycled through jobs. A business that barely pays the bills, Olivia retorted. Derek can give her the lifestyle she deserves. The Eleanor I married cared about more than money, I said coldly. The Eleanor you married grew up. Have you seen their prenup? Valerie interrupted. Did you sign anything recently, Jasper? An updated estate plan about 8 months ago. Her lawyer said it was routine. Get to Attorney Phillips immediately, Valerie urged. She handles cases exactly like this. 2 hours later, Catherine Phillips reviewed my documents. This isn't just an estate plan, she said. This contains clauses that sign away your rights to any inheritance acquired in Eleanor's name. Can she do that? Marcus asked. Not if he signed under false pretenses, Phillips replied, and especially not if she was already planning to divorce him when he signed. How do we prove that? I asked. Phillips smiled determinedly. Jessica's texts will help. And Jasper, return home immediately. Don't leave the house. If she wants you out, she'll need a legal eviction. Meanwhile, we build our case. 3 days later, Eleanor arrived with Derek in tow. We need to talk about financial arrangements, she announced, striding into the living room. Perfect timing. I was about to call my attorney, I replied calmly. Eleanor's eyes narrowed. Attorney? You're not contesting this, Jasper. It will cost you money you don't have. Actually, Marcus and Valerie should be here any minute, I said, checking my watch. Valerie, why involve her? Eleanor's composure slipped. Because she's been quite informative about when you and Derek really met, about your plans once the inheritance came through. Derek stepped forward. Jasper, be reasonable. Eleanor is prepared to offer a generous settlement if you cooperate. The doorbell rang. I opened the door to Marcus, Valerie, and Attorney Phillips. You brought your lawyer? Eleanor hissed. To our home, I emphasized. The one I've paid the mortgage on for 5 years. Derek placed a hand on Eleanor's arm. Let me handle this. He turned to Phillips. We can discuss terms without creating hostility. The hostility began when your client attempted to defraud her husband through falsified documents and concealment of assets. Phillips replied coolly. That's absurd, Eleanor snapped. Jasper signed willingly. Under false pretenses, Phillips countered. While you were already involved with Mr. Hamilton, planning to divorce once the inheritance cleared. You can't prove that, Derek said smoothly. Valerie stepped forward, phone in hand. Actually, we can. Jessica kept all the texts where Eleanor detailed exactly when and how she was planning to leave Jasper once she got the money. Eleanor whirled on Valerie. You little snake! You had no right. To tell the truth, I interrupted. Someone had to, since you've been lying for months. I didn't lie, Eleanor insisted. I just outgrew you. Right around the time you met a wealthy advisor and learned about $23 million, Marcus added dryly. Eleanor's face hardened. Fine, play it this way. I'll make sure you get nothing, Jasper. I'll drain every account fighting you. Is that a threat? Phillips asked, recording on her phone. What Eleanor means, Derek began. I know exactly what she means, I cut in, and I don't care about the money. I care that the woman I loved for 12 years was planning my disposal like I was furniture. Eleanor stepped forward, suddenly uncertain. Jasper, wait. Maybe we can work something out. I was angry and rushed things. I'm sorry if I hurt you. For a moment, I almost wavered. Then I remembered the coldness in her eyes when she handed me those divorce papers. No, Eleanor. Your apology means nothing. Not after what you've done. This isn't about money anymore. It's about justice. The courtroom was quieter than I expected as Judge Harmon reviewed the evidence. 6 weeks had passed since that confrontation in our living room. 6 weeks of discovery, depositions, and mounting evidence of Eleanor and Derek's deception. Miss Cooper, the judge addressed Eleanor, these text messages clearly indicate you were planning to divorce Mr. Walker immediately following receipt of your inheritance while simultaneously having him sign documents you misrepresented. Do you deny this? Eleanor glanced at her attorney, who nodded slightly. I was exploring my options, Your Honor, My feelings for my husband had changed. Exploring options is one thing, Judge Harmon replied. Deliberate financial deception is another. When the judge called a recess, I stepped into the hallway where Marcus and Valerie waited. How are you holding up? Marcus asked, clapping my shoulder. Better than expected, I admitted. Seeing her squirm under questioning is satisfying. Valerie checked her phone. Jessica's here. She finally agreed to testify about Eleanor's plans. That must have been difficult for her, I said. She couldn't keep supporting the lie, Valerie explained, especially after Eleanor threatened to ruin you financially. Jessica approached us, looking nervous but determined. Jasper, I'm so sorry. I should have warned you. You were protecting your kids, I said. I understand that. No, I was being a coward, she disagreed. But I'm here now. I'll tell them everything. When court resumed, Jessica's testimony proved devastating to Eleanor's case. By the end of the day, Judge Harmon had issued her ruling. The postnuptial agreement was invalidated due to fraud, and Eleanor's inheritance was deemed marital property subject to equitable distribution. Outside the courthouse, Eleanor caught up to me. For once, her perfect appearance was disheveled, her eyes red-rimmed. Jasper, please, can we talk privately? I hesitated, then nodded to Marcus, who stepped away but kept watching. What is it, Eleanor? You've ruined everything, she said, voice breaking. Derek left me, said I'm too much of a liability now. That's unfortunate, I replied without emotion. Don't you see? He was using me for access to the inheritance. I made a terrible mistake. She reached for my hand. Maybe we could try again? We had 12 good years. I was confused, caught up in the fantasy of wealth. I gently removed her hand from mine. No, Eleanor, what we had is gone. You didn't just betray me. You calculated it, planned it, executed it. There's no coming back from that. I said I'm sorry. Her voice rose in desperation. What more do you want? Nothing, not anymore. I stepped back. The settlement is fair. You'll still have millions. I'm taking my half and building a new life without you. You never loved me, she accused bitterly. If you did, you'd forgive me. I loved you more than you ever deserved, I corrected her. And sometimes love isn't enough when there's no trust or respect. 3 months later, I sat on the deck of my new lake house. Ironically, the one Eleanor and I had once dreamed about. Marcus and Valerie were visiting for the weekend. How's the new design studio coming along? Valerie asked, sipping her wine. Better than I expected, I replied. Turns out having capital to invest makes a difference. We've landed 2 major corporate accounts last month. Marcus grinned. And I heard Eleanor's financial troubles aren't over. The IRS is investigating Derek for some questionable practices, and she's caught in the crossfire. Jessica mentioned that, Valerie added. Apparently, Eleanor's been trying to reconnect with family now that her fancy friends have disappeared along with half her fortune. Do you ever regret how things turned out? Marcus asked carefully. I looked out over the lake, watching the sunset paint the water in golds and reds. I regret wasting 12 years with someone who could discard me so easily, but I don't regret standing up for myself. To new beginnings, Valerie raised her glass. To justice, Marcus added. I smiled, feeling genuinely at peace for the first time in months. To learning who your real friends are. What would you do if someone you loved for years betrayed you for money? Would you fight back or walk away? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of betrayal and justice served.